Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Things are heating up in the North American VCT with some very interesting results and games last night we shall dive into, but also TenZ giving his thoughts a few days ago now on when he might look to return to the starting team for Sentinels, but will that even be an option now, especially with Sanek from Loud saying that team with Marv is going to just continue to improve as they put more time in. Very much enjoy to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, Icebox officially is gone today, I believe. Icebox removed from the map pool as of today. Bind will be coming back in with the new changes we saw over the last few weeks. So that's a pretty big change. Will change the meta and the feeling for certain teams that either liked or hated Icebox or like or hate Bind, which is now going to be returning. Big game just to mention quickly in the Pacific League. Talon, who had not been particularly impressive so far, got the better of Zeta Division. This is a very important series because the storyline that I'm keeping my eyes on really from this region is, can Zeta qualify for Masters in Tokyo? That'd be very cool, but this might be the dagger, I think, for this series. Laz turned up big time since he's back in the roster, but yeah, Sushi Boys and Co, they delivered a great performance here. 13-8 on the Haven, and then 16-14 on the Ascent. They really needed to win this one. 12-8 up on the Ascent here, Zeta, and they squander it, go to overtime and lose. So that's going to be painful for them, it really is, especially given how the standings are right now. I guess we can just have a quick look here in the Pacific because it's DRX, it's Gen.G, but Zeta now 3-2, and they have some hard games to follow as well. So that was a rough defeat, and I don't think, honestly, after this one that I buy the idea that they're going to make it to Masters Tokyo, which is painful how much they've fallen off, really. And maybe them just underestimating Talon a little bit could be their downfall right here. Let's talk then about the North American VCT. Psycho was there yesterday back in the venue after getting fired effectively by Sentinels a week or so ago now. He was meeting up with some of his old exec guys, BCJ on the left-hand side, of course Crow on the right-hand side, and a really great performance with Crow last night, which is fantastic to see. We shall see here in a second. Let's dive straight into that series, actually. So 100 Thieves versus Leviatan. This very interesting series. Leviatan, one of these teams that have been dominating so far. They've been crushing it. They look like one of the better teams from that region. But finally, we're seeing some signs of life from the North American Valorant scene, because for some time it was looking like South America was just going to destroy everyone, and it still maybe looks that way a little bit in terms of the standings. But North America are fighting back over the last few games, and there were predictions going down on Plat Chat, right? For these two games, it turns out 100 Thieves got the job done. Now, quick note on 100T before we get into the series. Thwyfo, former NRG 6-man, is now expected to be the 6th man for 100T as well. This was spotted on the global contract database last night that, we see Mike's here, their head coach, Cryo, Banks, Stella, Asuna, Derek, and Thwyfo is now there. So this has not been confirmed yet. There were some rumors for a time that disguised, instead of signing Nerve, they were going to get Thwyfo, but in the end, right, NRG decided to bring on Ethos, right, their own kind of content guy, to be their official sub, and Thwyfo left NRG and is now clearly joining 100 Thieves. Pretty interesting stuff. I think a good, valid substitute player as well if they were to need one, and that is probably going to get confirmed over the coming days. Now, this was an awesome series last night. We had Bang's father here, was talking about the story and of how he came over and everything about his son and the progress that he's been making lately, and it was great to see that. I mean, the storylines, you couldn't have written them better, right? That the fathers were there giving their thoughts, and then the final map of the series, Bang absolutely came to play. And so far this season, we haven't really seen that much from Bang individually, even though we know how good he has been in the past, but this year we haven't seen that much from him, and this was a key series here for 100 Thieves to finally win. Leviathan took map 1, 100 Thieves clutched up game 2 here with Derek with a big play with the Sova ult, and then I don't even know what to say about this clutch here. So Leviathan, it was actually a 4v3 for 100 Thieves to close out this game here on the Lotus, and then Leviathan get all the kills, Bang in a 1 versus 3 now on the Omen, and 20 seconds to go. It's looking like an impossible clutch. Leviathan will feel like they should absolutely have closed us on outright, but I mean, this was remarkable. So Bang gets the first kill onto Mazzino, 12 seconds left, fakes the plant here as well, kind of baits out King into the corner, goes for the Chal here and gets 1 kill, and then somehow finds a second as well with a short. I mean, this is absolutely incredible clutch from Bang for the 13-11 dub on game 3. Like, that's insane, and that is just so big for their season as well. We know how good Leviathan are and have been, and for 100 Thieves to somehow make this one happen here, and Bang especially, like with his father, they're just incredible storylines, right? So 2-1 for 100 Thieves, massive series. I thought the 100 Thieves should be better than they were, to be honest. So far this season, they've looked very much underwhelming, despite being one of the most promising teams last year. So finally, they really had a standout series here, and you've got to give credit to Cryo as well. Yes, his numbers over the series don't look insane, but he had his moments here. Icebox, I'm sure 100T were frustrated frustrated. 15-13. All these maps are insane, by the way, as I'm sure you can tell. 13-11 on the Haven. Cryo had a good map here on the Jet as well. He certainly had his moment, and it's good to see him get a little bit of that confidence back, maybe because Cryo was obviously a key figure to XZ success on the Chamber, and there was a discussion the other day, even from Sinatraa, right? Is Cryo a one-trick, right? Is he only good on the Chamber? And okay, he hasn't been quite as insane on the Jet as maybe one would have expected, and Asuna really turned up as well here on the final map of the series, but yeah, bang, with that 1v3 clutch, incredibly impactful. And a big victory for 100T as North America start to show some life. Now, I wanted to speak also on Sentinels though, because they have understandably the highest viewed matches so far of the season in the entire world for the VCT, including Pacific, EMEA, all that type of stuff. But there was also a clip that came out, this is a while ago now, during this Sentinels Loud series. So this was the first series they played with Marved a few days ago now, before the MIBR series that they won comfortably. And this is right at the start of the series where TenZ is saying, look, when he tests negative, which is presumably going to be in a couple of days' time now, he is going to be ready once again to practice with the roster. Now, the thing is, will he be required to?
I'm feeling better right now physically, yes.
Manages to grab 2, then swings around the other side to deal with 2Es. Ice cold, baby.
You see the back mixer? Yeah, well, I mean, as soon as I test,
a long break, but welcome
if
back to the main stage.
as soon as I test positive, I can start practicing again.
Like a long break,
as long as I get to practice with the team before the matches, then play again.
Oh my goodness!
So TenZ obviously wants to return and is keen to return, but is it in his best interest, and is it actually in the best interest of the team? Because Sadak, after playing them from Loud, made it very clear that they will be a very good team. I mean, Sadak knows what it's like to play against Marv. They did it plenty of times last season when he was on Loud versus the OpTic team, and of course Pancada and Sassy, they play with him as well. So look, the guys have it, you know. They just need a little more practice, and they will be a powerhouse for sure. So he seems to be implying that roster with Pancada, Marv, Sassy, like even just leaving it there, but with Zekan as well, did a great job, and Dephh as the IGL, like, you know, there could be a powerhouse roster is what he reckons. And they have looked significantly better with Marv for TenZ in the last few days than they ever have with the first iteration of this team. So I mentioned it yesterday, is there any chance that Kaplan in his right mind says, you know what, Marvs, you're out of here, TenZ is coming back in? Like, there's no chance it's going to happen. If TenZ is going to come in, it probably would have to be for Dephh, right? And they would make the change for Sassy to become the IGL. But with their recent result against MIBR, would they make a move that's kind of risky like that, right? They've got some big games to come. They've got 4 more matches. I think they'd have to win probably at least 3 of those if they wanted to make it through to Masters. So do you want to make a kind of risky change to get rid of your IGL, put it on Sassy and bring TenZ back in if you're playing well against MIBR? Probably with that current team a bit more practice, has a chance to go one step further. You might not, right? So for all TenZ might want to return, it might be in maybe his best interest just to sit out for a little bit longer, just to, you know, recollect and all this type of stuff and just recover in general from everything that's been going on and take maybe a little bit of time out of the limelight. But also it might be in the best interest of the team. So definitely tweet your thoughts in the comments, because you can understand TenZ wanted to get back in, but you know, the coach is unlikely to say, yeah, sure, Marv, you know, get out of here, TenZ is coming back in. Like, I just can't see a world in which that happens. Now, speaking of NA Valorant, we've got to close out with this series and Loud, right? So Evil Geniuses played Loud yesterday and absolutely fried them game 1, right? Just DSG say, heartbreaking, the worst team you know, just played a great game. 13-3 game 1 was. We're like, oh my god, where did this EG just come from? They put Loud to the sword. Game 2, also EG had some chances. Evil Geniuses actually managed to get some impressions here. Like, they got 3,000 likes almost on this streak. This is your number 1 team. Backfired on them a little bit, we'll see in a second. Game 2, they here it was on the Haven. And, I mean, yeah, check out this one. Evil Geniuses up 10-9. They had some chances here, right? They could have closed out this game, but eventually Loud win the rounds they need. They close out game 2 Haven, and then Pearl was a bloodbath, right? And this is the thing, right? Evil Geniuses definitely have some tragic performances still in them. Loud are still the world champions, but Loud have been looking a little bit more vulnerable lately, right? Look, they're 5-0 fundamentally. You know, they can afford to drop a map here or there, and you know, Cowanton gets the clutch on Ethan to make it 10-0, and when it was 12-0, they won the pistol and it was GG. And as Ethan says, I've now been 13-0'd, 16-0'd on 2 different titles. I'm collecting achievements out here, 6,000 likes. So, yeah, tough stuff. And even Loud making it very clear that indeed they are still the #1 team. And EG said, you know what, they were a bit of a challenge. And obviously, Disguise making their way back as follows. So, yeah, the 13-0 was tough for EG. They played well up until that point, and then when it really mattered on the Pearl, they completely crumbled. So, look, an expected series result. But Evil Geniuses have shown some more promise lately, I think, with the Demon 1 roster. But Loud are still the team to beat in the Americas region. 2-1 in the end. And yeah, let's just turn up and completely farm stats here on the Pearl. I'll just bring the Pearl up here because this is pretty ugly. In fairness, I guess I should bring the split up as well for Evil Genius' sake because they played well on the other side of things. Demon 1 completely took over here, and that leaves the standings as follows in the Americas side. So the mid-game is coming up today and, of course, in the coming weeks as well. But this was like the super week, right? Sentinels played 2 games. They're now 2-3. They play, as I say, 4 more games. They will need to probably win at least 3, if not all 4 of those to try and make it through. So, yeah, because the top is pretty competitive, right? Loud, Cloud9, they play today. Leviatan still 3-2, but the 100 Thieves win is big for 100T. They're now 3-2 as well. So, yes, that, you know, 100 Thieves are behind Cloud9, looks like by quite a way. But the reality is it's very competitive here, right? Map count is very competitive. Loud, I think, are away and gone. They'll be comfortably qualifying for Masters Tokyo, but there's 2 more spots up for grabs. Fury have, you know, they're still looking good, but I think they might have regressed a little bit lately. The bottom teams, I don't think have much chance. Certainly EG and Crew are out of it. MIBR, I don't expect them to make anything happen either. NRG need to win pretty much everything they play now to the end of the year if they want to qualify. And yeah, so honestly, in a surprise turn of events, it might be a battle between C9, 100T and Sentinels for maybe one North American team to qualify, and NRG, arguably the favourites, might be way too far behind. And that does depend on what happens tonight, because they have a game tonight against Crew that is a must-win for NRG. If they win that one, they get to 2-3, and then that's acceptable, right? Tied with Sentinels. And Cloud9 Fury are also very big for North American VALORANT in general. If Fury win this one and move to 4-1, then they're looking kind of not exactly nailed on for the second spot, but they're looking in a very comfortable position. If Cloud9 get to 4-1, then that's a serious story. So yeah, very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.